Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining me on the Design Cast. We're close to the holidays, so for you that's relevant, you're getting ready for it. Um, I've been really pushing on the idea of feedback lately. I found that words like measurements and analytics and usability, testing, that sort of thing, these words really alienate the very people who need to become more familiar with what they represent. And we can all agree that the design process isn't just a one-way thing. It actually elapses in small cycles from ideation to creation to use and then back again. So we also know that evaluating use is essential. It's just that when we call it measurement, it becomes pretty unappealing pretty quickly, right? Feedback, on the other hand, is a word that is expansive enough to contain all the necessary disciplines of evaluation, but without feeling like a label that we put on, I don't know, someone else's task, right? And that's typical with this sort of thing, is that when we feel perplexed by it or don't want to do it ourselves, we just assume that it's somebody else's job. So in my last session, the design cast session I did earlier this fall, we looked at Google Analytics as one source of feedback. We created a repeatable routine for extracting meaning from the data it provides. Now, as essential as that form of measurement is, analytics routines can only get us so far. And the reason is because analytics, and Google Analytics especially, is really a robot. Its whole thing is routine. It only knows how to do what it's been programmed to do, and then what we as users tell it to do later. So that's why we can follow patterns with it and expect predictable results. Now, people, on the other hand, are different, right? People are weird. People are unpredictable. And people change all the time. And it's because of this that we absolutely need their feedback. All of these things, that they're weird, that they're unpredictable, that people change, that's what makes their feedback so hard to capture, but also so necessary. We need to know how they're using the things we create and whether that comes at all close to what we intended. And then, of course, when we test things that we've built, we start to realize that sometimes our intentions were off, and we have to reconceive of what this thing ought to be. And that's all based on showing things to other people. In fact, there's a quote that I like to use often from David Kelly, the founder of IDEO, who said, "You don't learn anything until you start showing it to people." I've totally stolen that line and completely integrated it into my advice to clients, because no matter how much collective intelligence and creativity a team has, it will never create the perfect thing. In fact, without feedback from the very people that thing is being made for, it won't even end up being the right thing, let alone perfect, right? David went on to add more to the quote, which I'd like to read to you. He said, quote, "Humans are really interesting. If you show them your idea in prototype form, very few people will tell you all the things they think are right with it. But everybody will tell you all the things that are wrong with it." That is obvious. I think we've all experienced that. He continues to say, "So you just write down and copiously take notes about all the things that they mention, and you fix them. And then the next time you show up, you have all those things fixed. And it doesn't take many more times before you have a product that's delighting the people that you're making it for. And so we call this enlightened trial and error," end quote. And I think that concept of enlightened trial and error is about the best sort of encapsulation of ongoing usability testing that I can imagine. And so if you ever want a really pithy quote that will get your clients or anyone else you need to convince about this thing up to speed, to start here.